Hello, and welcome to game number 26 of the Great Avalon Tournament hosted on Avalon.ist. I am Bremu, and I am playing for Bremen's 7 Deadly X's. And we are in the game. We are Percival! Oh boy! Not a good roll for me. So Percival is a really hard role, right? Because you have some information and you want to give information to other players a lot of times, but inevitably if you try and give that information to other players, then the spies are going to shoot Merlin. So you don't want to. Let's check this out. This M1 1.1, Jeb picks correctly if he's VT, and picks incorrect. Well, not incorrectly. He picks 2 rows if he's a spy. Mouse, this is the devil within me is Mouse, and he off picks Jeb Mystic. So we can already know what Devil's team is from this pick. Let's assume that Devil picks correctly. Well, he's probably it is a 50-50 Mystic, but that means Ant is res, and if I unpick Devil for M1, then ideally M1 plus 1 is clean if he's Merlin. Now, if he picked incorrectly because he wouldn't pick incorrectly, actually. That doesn't make any sense. The only reason that Mouse could pick incorrectly here is if it's exactly anti-Ant and Goofy, who is Jams, by the way, so if I refer to her as Jams, that's who I'm talking about. But that would be a weird 1.2 in response to 1.1. Usually Merlin wants to reflect with a similar pick so they blend in. And Mystic is hammer bribing. Okay. This is good for me. Because if I unpick Mystic and M1 plus Ant fails, then I know for a fact that Jeb is res. And I also know that Mouse's only team... I would know for a fact that Mouse's only team is Zigzag. Okay, so let's look at M1s. Yeah, there are some interesting M1s. Mystic was off-picked twice. So in Mystic's point of view, if you're a VT of Mystics and you assumed all M1s are correct, you would know that I'm probably a res. He would also know that Ant spies Mouse and Jeb spies Ant. So Ant's only team is right hand side plus Jams if M1s are correct, and Mystic is a res. What a bizarre... Ant doesn't really know how to play, I don't think. Yeah, this is some good chat right here. Well, it's hard to know exactly what's going on, but he's at least inquiring about that. Usually spies don't ask about it. I don't really know what to make of that. He seems kind of like he's memeing around, but I'm gonna unpick Mystic anyway. I think this is an okay pick, especially considering if it fails, I have a lot of information to work with. And Jeb rejects hammer. So we know that there's a res trolling this game, right? Because either Ant is VT just off-apping everything, which is not generally a good play. It kind of turns into this weird, like, if you play like, who was it? Zuzu? Zuzu used to do that all the time where he would just off-app everything and just do this weird meta where he would actually turn into Merlin in a lot of cases, just doing some crazy stuff, or he would lose the shot. So Mouse is saying, I don't think M1 plus 1 is clean, which is okay for him to say. because Jeb off-picked the two Mystic and Ant, and Mouse off-picked, or Mouse was off-picked by Ant with Mystic. So he's thinking that M1+1 isn't clean. So that means Mouse's only team with that one line of chat is Zigzag. And it corrects it. So let's take off our Percival caps for a minute, because I tend to get really blinded by that information, and I usually go, hello. Oh my gosh. That's my Pathfinder group. They're joking around. I apologize. That's really funny. So Mouse's only team is Zigzag now. We know this because Mouse said M1+1 isn't clean. And he's not going to pick wrong after 1.1 was a correct pick or was a spy. It just would be very nonsensical. Jams hasn't really said anything. Okay. What a bizarre pick. And he pick rejects it. I don't really like Mouse this game. After that pick reject. And picks this, so this is good information for us. This is hard, solid information that we can gather from it. We have to be careful not to use it incorrectly, because if this fails, then we know Jeb is a confirmed res. But it passes. So this one's a bit of a tricky situation. I think I'm going to app a Dennis here. Actually, I don't know much about playing with Ant. What would be a logical M1? So let's say M1+1 fails. Right. That means if M1s are correct, then Ant would probably be spying Mystic. And that means there's only one spy in left-hand side to his position. I'm pretty sure that M2 is just clean. One second, I'm going to talk here. So I'm pretty sure that M2 is clean. And if M2 is dirty, then it's Zigzag. So I'm going to app this team. I'm pretty sure Jams's team is right-hand side, though. Jams isn't really saying anything. So I'm picking a team, and I'm sort of unpercying in this moment, and I'm picking this team. Because I know it's going to fail, right? I'm Percival, and I see two Merlins on it. There's no way that it passes. However, I'm pretty convinced on some information going into critical if M2 fails. I'm pretty convinced that it's Zigzag. Jeb will be confirmed res. But we want to be careful. We can probably safely res him if M2 fails, especially given the 3.1 apps. Jams just picks this team. Oh my gosh, this website. They're all going Medusa crazy. It's getting in their heads. So, Jams picks this team, and we know that Mouse said, I don't think M1+1 is clean. Or at least M1 plus and. I'm gonna keep M2 going here. Mouse is really trying to not have M1+1 pick. He's really hammering down that zigzag. But I don't like that strat. And I don't like how he is trying to take control of the game at this point. It feels a bit desperate. Now, I think if he was a spy with Jeb, well, I think that's a weird. You don't really want. Oh my gosh. I think Mouse is trying to frame Jeb with that statement. Or maybe he's not. Okay, whatever. So Mouse picked a correct M1 with his co-spy. Okay, so we know Jeb outed spy. He off-apps a random M4. If he's res, then he's just gonna lose the game. He's also not res doing that. I'm just gonna amp this team. Mouse is also spying M1+1. So he's not an add to this team, and I'm just not gonna pick him with it. If he's Merlin doing it, well, it's kind of silly. I think Goofy's pretty well hit in this game. Given M3. I think I'm a really viable candidate this game. Unless they read into the fact that I was talking on the recording after 2.5. Okay. So we were right. This is a pretty easy game. I'm pretty stress-free. I think if Jam's a shot here, that would be a very bad shot, especially given. See, look, Jams isn't Merlin. She accused 4.1. Sometimes Merlin does that, and it's a bit of a gambit, right? Whether or not you win the game if you're Merlin and you're accusing it. Because if you have a Percival who is not intelligent enough to look into that fact and be like, oh, they're probably unmerlining or something, they're probably going to be like, well, what? Now, like a Percival on 4.4 or 4.5 could really hurt this game. But The reason why we know M2 is clean, though, is because Jeb outed Spy. No resistance member is going to off-app a random 4.3 and then start going, I'm outing Liv, I'm outing Liv, I'm outing Liv. Usually res don't do that, which is also another thing. Usually spies will off-app in M4 to prevent a good pick with it. Now, what would have been really smart is if Mouse would have off-apped Goofy's mission. That would have made the game significantly harder, because nobody will know the ad in Jeb or Goofy except for the PRs, because you don't really have a reason to hate Jeb. Now, it's a lot easier when Mouse is stating, I don't like M2, I don't like M2, I don't like M2, and Jeb off-apps, and Mouse isn't trying to res Goofy. So it's whatever. So what they did here was a bit of a misplay in 4.3 and 4.1. If I was a spy and I saw 4.1, I would off-app it. Definitely. 4.3 is kind of... Yeah, I don't know what Ant is doing here. He's just off-apping everything. Like, yep. It's a bit silly. And Merlin here too. I didn't really like Mouse this game. Not only from this reject, from this off pick as well, it was a bit bizarre, and from him just going, I don't like him too, I don't like him too, I don't like him too. It sounds a bit like, I don't like Merlin. Or not, I don't like Merlin. It's like, I don't like Clean, No Merlin's going to try and out all that information, because if Mouse was Merlin, he'd just be dead this game. He just gave a lot of information with little things to say. He cannot like M1+1. But after, nobody's really going to float that. If it was a single float, this game would be significantly harder. But I don't think it is. It's only Goofy to Squire. They're never going to get the shot. Goofy did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I like Goofy more. It's just... This is what happens when you... this is like when I was Morgana last time I recorded. It was 0% win rate because I'm never shooting bingo. This is a 0% win rate for Spies. I don't see them ever shooting Goofy. It's only Goofy to Squire. And the other thing they don't really bring up is that I fought against Mouse. When Mouse states, M2 is a no-show, Goofy, me, and Jeb accused it. And I did think maybe he was trying to frame Jeb, but it is kind of outing PR when you claim that Jeb isn't an ad to M2 when it's very viable. Because on missions, well, I guess Jeb off-picks two things, right? But he can still be an ad. The only person who isn't an ad is Mouse. Jeb can have it wrong in one. And he added himself in wait a minute. Oh, he picked a weird 2.2. I didn't even notice that 2.2. He's not an ad. I guess the only ad is Goofy. That's Jams' only team. I didn't even notice that. I think I just saw myself picked and it's yeah, that's probably M1+1. Oops. So I guess I probably would have spied him for this or marked him down as something weird is going on. Can it be Squire to Ant? Yeah, I didn't really have a reason to be scared, because remember, if Mouse is res, his team is Zigzag. He doesn't know that's his final team because he's Morgana, but if he was Merlin in the situation, it probably would be Zigzag. And because I think that Mystic is more likely to float than Ant. Unless Ant was Morgana. If Ant was Morgana, I think he would play it like a game of Secret Hitler, where he would be like, I'm Hitler and I need to look as live as possible. But I think that Mystic is more likely to fail that in that situation, especially singling one. But what's really, if I wanted to be kind of a toxic Percival and win the game on missions but lose on the shot, probably for M2 or M3, and I debated this, is I would pick zigzag. But then it kind of eliminates my combinations. You know? And I didn't really like Mouse. I didn't really like his chat. There was a lot of information coming out, and you as Merlin do not have any reason to give out a bunch of information before critical at the earliest. I mean, you can say, and he can logically say, that M1+1 is dirt, because he was off-picked by someone on M1+1 with another person on M1+1. Because remember, Ant is saying, hey, there's a spy in Mystic and Mouse. I think he just off-apped because he was just memeing, you know? I don't think he was necessarily trying to say, hey, I think these are two rows together. And some people just do things in this game to be random. See, I also kind of rezzed Mystic for that as well. Yeah, Jams is just never shot. This is quote-unquote free low. 1.3 is a Merlin pick, boys. Someone picking Hammer is a Merlin pick. I'm just glad they think MVT this game. Me and Merlin hit really well. This was well played by the res. And I think Spy's mismanaged pretty hard in M4. If you would off at 4.1, man, this game would be so much harder. Jams would be so much more likely to be spied, and I would have to out PR. It would just be so difficult. Oh, he's gonna shoot me. I think he just wants to see me upside down. Well, he could consider, let's think about this. Jams, to me, if I was an assassin in this situation, I did defend M2. And Jams is just being... Yes, Jeb, I know the ad to M5 because logically you out a spy, so M2 is clean, and the person calling M2 dirt is a Merlin question mark. No Merlin's gonna say that. Yeah, if he off-apps 4.1, PRs have to out. I'm forced to out. And my best win con at that moment is just getting shot. And probably like flaming Jams. If I would like fake flame Jams and be like, why are you picking this crap to you? Yada, 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 or something, you know. And then I would have a higher win con. But you just have to take the 50-50 sometimes and hope to goodness that you're right. They don't really know the rules of this game. I also didn't really have to do anything, right? A res unpicked me when there was 2 res Hammer. The other one made it a lot easier to pick Mystic. And Morgana was kind of outing from my point of view. And I was able to hide Merlin in M3 pretty well. They aren't looking into this M3 at all. So... Merlin should be on M3, especially when M4 is clean. You know, because this really, even though it kind of is a viable team, if I was in Ant's spot or my own spot and I wasn't trying to hide Merlin, I would slam Zigzag so quick, you know, because I have a read on Mystic Ant. I think Ant's less likely to float, and Mouse is saying someone floated, you know. It might be 2 people that floated, which is a bit more common, but left-hand side is a weird team, and why would Mouse respond with 1.2 if it was left-hand side? You know, why would he pick correct if Jeb picked incorrect? PRs usually don't do that. They usually try to pick as if people are behind. I did defend M2. Also, res don't really reject hammer. I'm not gonna speech play. I'm kind of tempted to just be like, dude, that's bullshit, and be like, oh man, how did this happen? That's such a dumb pick. I unpick 1.5. I unpick him because it's a high info pick. His only Percy is Goofy. I don't really see Goofy to me. Goofy wouldn't accuse. This 4.1 accuse is so bizarre. It's VT Merlin. Goofy can't be outed over me. What do you mean? You hated M1+1. This is a fault. You know, they aren't really looking past their own mistakes this game. He's not really looking past the fact that he accused M1+1. And he just like rejected randomly and was just giving me information for zero reason. I don't really like going with people who want to give me a bunch of information without trying to hide it. Because what res would do that? I don't think Jams has ever shot. If Jams has shot, it's kind of an atrocity. So. So, I guess we win! Yay! And they're joking because my avatar tilts to the side, so it technically tilts upside down. Oh, let's join the VC. Let's see what people are saying. I'm gonna join the VC. I heard that some people thought I was trying to commit suicide this game. I joined the VC really quick and they're just talking about 4.1. 4.1 is a terrible mission. It outs your PRs. You know, because if Mouse would off app that 4.1, It'd just be so tragic. I really think, and I've thought about this before, and I've only ever seen one player do this, but I should start doing it more, is that in M4, you should reject teams you're on. If you pick a Danis, you should reject it. Because if it's clean in a spy off apps, you're going to have a hard time, and PR is going to have to out if you don't have a read in Jeb and Jams. I feel like this is a lie. I feel like this is not the truth, but I'll trust him on it. He claims he knows who Merlin is till 4.1. It's risky. It's very risky. And talking about should we add that, I didn't like his 5.1 chat as well, but 4.1's really kind of crap. If you're a spy, off app this. Look, the ad isn't obvious. Either Jeb or Jams could be added to it. I mean, Jeb can't really be added that well, but Jeb outing spy is just worse than Mouse outing spy. You're gonna gather some sort of information because Jeb and Jams are basically the same. And only a PR is going to be able to differentiate between them, unless you have like some pro social reader. But it's not really the case, not in this lobby. There aren't that many strong players in this lobby, especially not social readers. If this was like a game of Secret Hitler, then we would have 3 really good players, I think. But it's not. This ain't a VC game of Secret Hitler, so I can't just like snap read ant. But anyway, that's about it. Thanks for listening this whole time, and I will see you all next one.